Okay, so let's get start with our topic of continuity ML operations. MLOps day 3. So in day 1 and day 2, we have discussed some fundamentals of the MLOps, like components, like some basics. Okay, first we discuss some basics. What is AI and their categories, and ML model. What is machine learning also? The state of machine learning. We have discussed the state of machine learning and the importance of the machine learning and life cycle of the machine learning. And we also discussed why MLOps needed and their importance. Okay, so these are all the things that we covered, and we also covered some workflow, like from data scientist to production grade ML model deployment. We have covered some workflow, how the business use cases, and then data science role, ML engineer role, data engineering role, ML ops guy role, and the production and some of the tools we discussed. Okay, moving forward. So these are the very fundamentals and very basics that we need to know. Since you are hearing it is first time, it will be like in you will think like it is in my brain, but it will not in your brain. Okay, it's something you need to habituate that to this process. So we have first we need to learn is AI, that AI workload. What is an AI workload? Okay, and how it is utilized in the current market. That in everyday life that you are using Chat GPT, right? In every way you're going, you'll able to see the AI into many of in your phone only the AI is there. Okay, in self-driving cars and many where the AI get utilized. So that is the first thing, and we have a type category of the AS, that is supervised, unsupervised, and reinforced, and how they are using become to run that we need a model. So because it has to train with the machine learning only. So that is going to be done with the model development and model deployment and model running. For that we need to do a training. So that is the importance of the machine learning state. Okay. And the cycle of the machine learning we seen. Let's get into our syllabus. So from on, then you'll get to understand more clearly. So yesterday we covered this first module of introduction. Okay. So we have also seen some challenges. We discussed state of machine learning, high level overview. So is it similar to DevOps or not? And some life cycle we already seen. Okay. Let's move to the this overview of the ML, and then we'll move towards the topics so that the rest of the topics are going to this DevOps, AI ops, model ops, LLM ops will come in sequence wise. Okay. First, what I would like to tell you is MLOps maturity model. What is this MLOps maturity model? Let's say maturity model, whenever you're taking any ML model, okay, whenever you're taking any ML model, first we need to analyze the project structure and the business goals. So we need to analyze the project structure and business goals, and the project business need documentation is up to date or not. That's what we need to first keep it in a mind. Okay. And then what we go for a technical evaluation, like technical discussion, where I'm going to gather some data, where I'm going to gather some data and analyze and do a cleaning. So in this case, So I going to gather some data and I'll be going to analyzing, and then I'll be cleaning, including like you can say it is a kind of feature engineering that you are doing here. Okay, you are generating a new features from this, and then we will be moving forward for infrastructure level. So we need to define an infrastructure level and infrastructure to run my model. Okay, to run my model I need to go for a infra. So in this infra code I need to take, you can take a cloud formation, you can take a terraform. Okay, or also you have to utilize the source code management like github, bitbucket, or gitlab, and then you need to give a code and try to develop the code for your model. So this is what the first step is going to be happen, where the secure code is going to be stored, the source code. Okay, then we go further for traceability, reproducibility, and then we check the code quality and all. So in this case, the how we are moving towards, we call this specific operations as a maturity model. Why I'm discussing this? In order to make my model to be ready and deploy in the production, right? So for that, whatever I am going to do the step by step manner, these steps I will be going to call it as maturity model. So how it will be involved? So it will be involved like this in a triangle shape. It will be involved in a triangle shape, you can say. Now we can call them as level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. So first it starts from the level 0. Basically, it starts from the level 0. So this is how actually a maturity model will effectively involve into your MLOps. First, ML engineering and model ops, and then data and data engineering data ops, ML and ML engineering model ops, SRE software engineering and DevOps. Altogether, it's your effective MLOps. Okay. So what we need to concentrate more at data. So the dimension of data focus on managing the data lifecycle, high quality data, enabling the smooth integration in order to process towards the ML model. And now, what ML and model ops? The dimension of the model is mainly going to focus on the model like throughout the life cycle, which we're going to include training, evaluation, monitoring, optimization, and further etc. Okay, so that's the thing here. It involves more into this ML engineering and model ops. Okay, so then you know that the model is going to be deployed and need to be maintained, reliable, scalable. All these things are going to be handled by. It's basically it's a ability of continuously improving the model for processing the data and code models and deploying end to endly. So that is going to done with your DevOps applied principles. Nothing but lastly you can result as ML ops. Okay. So this is what we call it as maturity. And if any interview they are asking, you can say level 0, level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. So like this, there will be some levels. Each organization will follow a set of levels. What happens at the 0 level? 0 level, it's completely a manual work. Completely a manual work. Okay. What happens in the manual work? Everything that the data science engineer or a business analyst they into discussion, and they will not involve into such a thing in code side or a cloud side. They will not involve anywhere. So they will be into a manual works where they discuss the business needs and they discuss anything, and there is no MLOps or ML model is ready. It's completely a raw thing that without a coding or something, nothing. So they will be discussing on it. So that is the first one, which is level 0. Okay. And I can say it is no MLOps. There, what happens? Data scientists are not regularly going to communicate with the very, very big teams. So that's how there's no MLOps, nothing. And now let's come to the level 1. So in the level 1, what happens? In the level 1, what happens? So there will be a DevOps, but no MLOps. So let me write down them. So in the level 1, what happens? There will be DevOps, but no MLOps. In the level 0, so there will be a no MLOps. Completely is a manual work. But here in the level 1, there will be a DevOps, no MLOps. Even in this case also, data science engineer is not going, data scientists are not going to regularly communicate with the a bigger team, but data engineers are going to, uh, data engineers will be there, but slightly they are going to be involved in this case. But software engineers who are reactively working on this front end side or application development side, so they will be involved highly in it. But at the level 1, what happens? We can categorize it in the 3 ways. The first one is, so let me keep here. The first one is model creation. Model creation. Okay. So in this model creation, one, and I can also call it as model release, and I can also tell it as one more is model or application integration. Okay. Application integration. What happens here in this model creation? There will be a data pipelines in the level 1, and this model release is a completely a manual process, and there will be a very basic integrations will happen with your application in the level 1 where DevOps exists, no proper ML ops. Now let's come to the level 2. Level 2. In level 2, what happens? There will be a automated trainings. There will be a automated trainings. Now data science engineer is going to involve here, and he will be going to communicate with data engineers for to convert experimentation into repeatable scripts and jobs in level 2. Okay. Now let's come towards the model release. What happens? The data pipeline will gather the data automatically, and then it's trying to track for the training or experiment. Okay, here. In the model release, so the manual process will be here also, but it will be done with the some of the scripts, like controlled scripts with test cases, or we can also do it by the managed software or managed software team. Here also, once it is done, you'll be integrate with your application. let's say it's ODT application or a telecom application, any application, healthcare application. So you are going to integrate this for testing the model. It's not the production, testing the model. So this is level 2, level 2. And then we'll come to the level 3 where model deployment will be happen. Model deployment will be happen. Level 3 model deployment will be happen. So here what happens, data scientist is directly works with the engineer, and that is going to convert as a code and repeatable. And also data pipelines are going to work here as well the same way. Here how it is working, the same way it will work, but here the thing is going to be automated with version control. Here we will be keeping the versions. Okay, and then we are going to deploy into a application with unit integration, and as well as we are going to integrate this to implement the ML model, to work the ML model in the application. Okay, and the level 4, which is production one, which is production one which is completely fully operational, full MLOps automation and retraining. So this is where full MLOps will involve from your level 2 to level 3. So in the level 0 and the level 1 is completely a job of data science and business analyst and data engineering guys. And in the level 1 and level 2, data engineering guys, and level 2 and level 3, ML engineering guys, and level 4 and level 3, level 2, MLOps engineer guy is going to involve. So this is called maturity ML model. This is how the phase of any project, the phase of workflow you can say, or the itself the title is serving that ML maturity model. Okay, so this is the deep definition I'm giving. If you're not getting, no problem, leave it. But nobody is not going to ask you that what it is. Since you are entering into the new domain, you should know in detail about these things. That's why. Okay. So that is the main motto of this what our ML maturity model. And let's come to the detailed MLOps stages. So what happens in the detailed MLOps stages? There are few stages like the same like the DevOps. Okay, let me tell you those. That's why it's a combination of DevOps and MLOps. First, initial. So in the initial, what I can give you in initial, there will be a, as I said, in the manual process, limited automation, and there will be nothing to take any stage as a MLOps thing. But so there will be some stages which I can first initially I can tell you is versioning, which is versioning. Okay, what is this versioning? Let me call it as data. Track the changes to track the changes to database. Track the changes to database is your data, and that is under the versioning, a versioning style you can say. So examples, what examples I can give you? An example, if you understand versions, lineage and transformations, these are all comes into your data under the versioning. For identifying the data drift. Identifying the data drift. So for this, what tools we'll use? We use DVC, data version control, and we use data lakes, data breaks. So this kind of tools we will be using in this case of versioning. So we need to mostly going to focus on DVC. And then code. At the code, like version control, we will be doing for all the codes. All the codes, like example, training scripts. Your model is going to do a training, right? We need a script. Pre-processing, pre-processing, and model serving scripts are going to be done in these cases, where I'll be going to keep in tools called Git, GitHub, GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, these tools. And then model. So here we have to do a tracking models. That would be a tracking models. For that, we will be following the versions. Okay, like hyperparameters and metrics to compare the performance. And finally, we are going to select the best model with it. Okay. For that, what tools I'll use? I use kind of MLflow is the one, and weight and bias, Qflow, like this. These tools we are going to use in this case. And the features. The features, mainly it is version and track. Version and track of your feature engineering, of your feature engineering pipelines for feature importance and consistency of your features. And then we go for a containers. So in this, the version we are going, whatever the version above, we are going to package into a ML model with some dependencies, and we will be doing a Docker containerization. Okay. In order to deploy and do all these things, we are going to do this. And then what happens? There'll be a testing. There'll be a testing. In the testing, like kind of unit test, integration test, model test, and A and B test. So these tests are going to done. Unit test means we are going to check ML code with individual component. Example, data pre-processing, functions, model training steps, and all. Integration test means we will be looking in terms of ML system to work and verify the different ML systems are working together as expectedly or not. In the model test, it's like we'll be doing the model performance, and we will be hold out some data set against a predefined metrics, and then we'll get to know that. A and B testing is comparing the performance between the two different versions of the model in production. So this kind of things we'll be going to do here in the testing, and we'll be going to do a CI/CD, continuous integration and continuous delivery and deploying with respective of testing, building and testing and deploying. Finally, we can go for monitoring. So here we need to implement tools called Prometheus, Grafana, Datadog, Splunk, Neural Lake, all in terms of monitoring accuracy, latency, resource usage, data drift, concept drift, and other issues, critical events. So this is all is going to a MLOps. So that's what in this I mentioned very clearly about your testing, automation, CI/CD deployment, and monitoring. Okay. So we are going to see all this together in our coming models. Everything is going to be in our coming models. You can see very clearly. Now let's focus on starting the subject. To automate ML pipeline versus CI/CD ML pipeline, I need to know some of the basics. And even to create this kind of open source tools to get done the work, I have to know some basics with DevOps. I need to know some DevOps principles. So that's why I'm going to start from the module 3. So in order to start and understand a piece-wise piece. Now, let's understand the overview of the Git. Because why I'm telling this DevOps principle? See, when I go and create a kind of this bucket, or when I go and create this kind of a role, or this kind of a node group, and this kind of a like whatever the SageMaker notebook, and I'm running some trainings and all, you can see you won't get this. Here we have some of the files, how it is get trained and all. You won't get until and unless I'll teach you the basics. Okay, I'll teach you the basics. I think I have forgot to stop the node. Let me stop the node. So you will reach this point when we finish up with some basics, where we deploy the live models and see the output. Yeah, where are we? Now let's talk about the Git. Git is a SCM tool. It is SCM tool. Source code management, where company source of truth is a database, but source is your Git only. So you will be having a client and hub where you can communicate. So there will be two tools. One is Git and one is GitHub. GitLab, Bitbucket, all are same only. What happens in this? A organization, a developer, when a developer he did some code, when the developer did some code, he is going to keep securely this code into a one company trusted source, that is source code control system or management, we can say, that is Git. That is Git. Here we're going to keep it. All the code is going to be here. So let me take the files. It can be a Java files or any file. program files that will be here. So we do managing here, control managing here. So this is going to be in a distributed way. When you have a developer is having a laptop and is working on something, okay, this guy also working on same code, and there'll be multiple developers who are working on the same code. So the code should not be classed while they're working on. So this should be always very clean and neat in order to use into our production. We called VCS, version control system. Should not be confused. We need to maintain all the versions of the code. I have a developer, he did some code and in the laptop, he will not recommend to keep the code into laptop. He will be pushing towards the Git. And here also one more developer is there. He did something and he pushed here. And one more developer there, he will be pushed here. All the developer changes are going to be in the GitHub. It will be into the GitHub. And from here, the code will go to the production. But when these three developers are working, let's say these three developers are working, are the three developers are going to work on the same file? Yes, they're going to be work on the same file. So we need to understand a terminology called branching strategy. Okay. So first, let's understand the Git workflow. There will be a Git workflow. What is mean by a Git workflow? So Git workflow is client to hub communication. It's from the client to hub communication. Here you have the laptop and I have a GitHub here. So this is my GitHub. Okay, VCS, and this is my GitHub. So we need to understand one thing. I have to install Git bash in my laptop. I have to install Git bash in my laptop. I have to install Git bash in my laptop. So once I install the Git bash, then I need to run git init command. Git init. So whenever you're communicating with the Git tool, you have to give a command called git. Okay, git init. So you have to go and say git download. Click on this and download Windows, Linux or something. Okay. So when you open, go to your desktop and right click and open, you can able to open your git bash like this, a terminal. It is a terminal. Okay. This is a terminal. Okay. So this is the git bash. It is a CLI, like a terminal only. CLI. Now, what we will do, git init will initialize your repository. Initialize your repository. So I'll go and I'll do it git init. So what happens here, it will be going to initialize and give you the plugin initialization. The plugin is going to initialize and make ready repository for you. And then you have to run a command clone. What? Clone. So git clone is a command. Git clone. What happens in the git clone? The whatever the file here it is, duplicate. It's original only, but it's going to download to your laptop. Download to your laptop. And then you have to edit this file. You have to edit. You are a developer and now you are doing some changes in it. In the file, you are doing some changes. And then you need to address some of the changes are temporarily saved. You need to say, I want to save it temporarily. Git add dot. Git add dot. That means it is index area or staging area. What happens here? You have done some of the changes and you want to save them. So you can save by adding the git add dot or star or a file name. Then you are moving towards git commit. So what happens here? You want to do a permanent save. You want to save this file permanently. So you will give a message here which is going to be very unique for your change. Whatever the change you did in this file, that is going to be very unique. And you will run a command called git push. So when you do git push, these changes will go to the GitHub. Whatever the new changes you downloaded and you did your new changes, right? With git push, it will go back and sit here. And from here, we take to the production to deploy. From here, this file is going to deploy into the production. Okay, or a staging or somewhere it is the file will be go towards those environments or in your project wherever you want to use. The file will go from here, not from the laptop. So whatever a developer, ML engineer, or anyone is doing anything, that will come through your GitHub only. Okay, it will come through the Git. So this is called Git workflow. Now let's understand the repo meaning. We need to understand some of the terminologies here. So in the GitHub, we have a term called repo. Repo means is nothing but a folder in your GitHub where you keep all these files, where you keep all these program files. And when you are cloning, clone. So you're cloning this one to here. When you clone this one, here we call it as local repository. It's our local area, right? Local repository. Here we call it as local repository. When this repository is here, we call it as remote repository. Okay, the original will be always here only in the GitHub. When you can search GitHub and click like this, then open the first one. You can create your GitHub account. It is same like your Facebook account creation only. So it will ask mail ID, phone number, and then the password you will set. So this is my GitHub account. This is my user. And if I click on my profile, or so this is my profile. Okay. You can see this is the one is my profile and I have a repositories. So these are all the repositories. This is the one repository folder. This is the one repository folder. So this is the one repository folder, and this is the one repository folder, and this is the one repository. Like this, 14 repositories I have. I have 14 repositories. Give me a minute. Whenever you go and create, you can create in the two types. One is public and one is private. When I click on this repositories and I can click on this, now I can give a unique name that MLOps git class. Okay. And here you can give some of the description. Public and private. Public means anyone can access this. Private means only you can access, or you provide access to somebody can only access. And here we're going to add readme file. What is mean by this readme file? This readme file is something, a manual to your GitHub repository. A manual means whenever you buy any mission or any gas gate, you'll get a manual how to operate, right? Same way we add this readme file to add instructions, important things. And this dot ignore, you want to add dot ignore, you can add it. If you're configuring this repository for Python, you have a Python. If you're configuring for Node, you will be having a Node. If you're configuring for Java, you will be having Java. Because it is, if you don't want to track anything, then you can mention those non-track things in this file, so it will not track. So repository programming basic that we need to add it. Okay, you can add any license, or you can also add MIT license. Okay, or you can keep it none. If you want to keep, this is a license that's uh, like any other people who are coming, they'll get to know that this code is, they can't do, it's not their code. So that's why we can also apply some of the license on it. And create repository. When you click on this, it will create a repository. Now this is a repository. See, automatically my readme file added. And this is my main branch, and I have only one branch. This is my branch, means repository name, and it is in the public. You can see here code and issues. If you have a code issues, you can find it here. We'll discuss pull request. Pull request and PR. Whenever the developers are want to deploy anything into the production, or they want to confirm and make it a final decision whether their code changes, we do a PR process, pull request process, from one branch to another branch. So we'll understand this terminologies in the next. Actions is something called CI/CD. This is CI/CD actions. Projects you can configure. Wiki, some of the documentations you can add. You can add some security scannings, and you can get insights and setting of this repository. Here, how many people are watching also you can see, and pin, we know, like bookmark. Fork. Fork is something, this fork is it is having one functionality. Let's say it is my account and you have your own GitHub account. You want this repository into your account. What you will do, how you can get this repository without a single change to your account, from my account to your account? How you can? Simple. Copy this URL, paste in your browser, and there you are logged in your GitHub account, and click on this fork. Automatically this code will be come to your account. So this is fork means. And whatever the changes you do, and then if you want to propose to me, you have to propose to me through the fork. Okay, so this is fork. You might going to do fork also in your part of work which is needed. To this repository, if I want to add, I can add the files, and this is the code where I can get the URLs. Now I would like to add a file. Click on add file, create file. I will be creating a file here. The file name is test underscore ml dot txt. Welcome to MLOps Full Course. I'm telling. Okay. Then I will be go and do a commit. So commit in the sense you are saving the file permanently. So saving the file permanently, commit changes and commit it. And if you click on here, so this is your repository, you have this one. Now how can I clone and do such actions of Git workflow? Click on this, you'll be able to see here HTTPS. This is the link you need to copy. And then you need to go to your Git bash and give git clone. What command we need to give? Git clone the URL. So it is going to download the repository. So this is my folder name. I said right, this is my folder name. And if I go to CD and the folder name, I'll be into the folder. If you give ls, you can able to see readme and test underscore ml txt. How can I see it? Cat test txt. Whatever I have added, it came here. You can see it came here. Okay. Now I would like to do the changes here. So what I'll do, I'll open vi test txt. Now here I can add. So what I'll add experimentary and doing or adding file or a line from git bash. I'm giving this one. Escape, you need to type escape shift colon wq explanatory mark to save this file vi. So this is a basic vi. Okay. If you don't know, vi is an editor, a file in the Linux. You can also do with nano. When you open vi and type like that, and you can run a keyboard like escape shift colon wq. You will find in the notes, don't worry. Now I need to know that I'm a developer, I'm working on it. I want to see that what is the status, git status. So you'll get to know that it is in the red color. That means you are in a working area. The system thinking that you are still in working mode. So you have to tell the system that, hey, I have done some of the changes. So these files, keep it aside temporarily. So you can give git add dot. Now see the git status. Okay. It's showing in the green color. That means you have saved aside. Now you want to commit permanently. Git commit -m and give a message, first message. Okay. So it will create a unique ID for you whenever you commit any file into your repository. The same thing I want to push to my remote repository to my GitHub. So before that, if I come here and if I go to text.txt, you can't able to see the line which I have added in the terminal. But now here I'll go and do a git push. Changes are pushed. You can see changes are pushed. I'll come and I'll refresh. You can see the line came. This is how you will be doing on it. And one more thing here, if you go to code space and click on code space main, you will automatically enable a VS Code for your repository on the online browser. It's loading. Or you can also open your VS Code in your laptop. Open VS Code. You have to open a VS Code and clone Git repository. You have to click on this clone Git repository. Here you can see. Here you have to provide your link of your this one. Here you have to provide clone repository. So it will clone. So you can go and give a name, like you can select any new one. A folder I'm going to select GitOps Labs. Okay, select this one, select this one. Now it is cloning. Open. See here we have your files. Okay, I would like to add a new file here. Click on this, add. Whenever you click on this, it will add a new file. So I'm adding test2.txt file. So here I would like to adding a Python line or code sample. Just randomly I'm adding something. Okay. Now I would like to commit this one. We know in the Git bash that how to do a commit, but how to do in the VS Code. Here in the left side, whenever you write something, it will enable this one. You need to commit here, click on, and then it will give you to enter a message. This is VS Code message you can give, and click on commit and save and commit changes. So it is committing the changes. Whenever you click on the sync and this button, it will push the changes. It will push the changes to your remote repository and it is done. If I come to my repository, there is no other file. If I do refresh, I can able to see other file. Okay. So this is a basic Git workflow that we are doing. And if you enable any code space at the browser level only, you can do all kind of works, whatever you're doing at the local VS Code. But local VS Code is developer friendly to run and do the test on like code changes and all. Developer will do at the local if he's having the virtual environment or environment setup with the IDE. But basically, if you want to do any changes, because we also involve into many changes because we will be going to maintain. So this is VCS and GitHub, that how we need to maintain, and this is a Git workflow. That's a basic thing that we need to know in the first. So if you are all good with this workflow, then we can move forward to understand in deep that how developers or your ML engineers or other, how they are maintaining their source code and how they work, how they're going to work in the source code, and what kind of support they need from you as a MLOps engineer, what kind of things that we need to set up for them. So as they are a developer, they know minimal things, that only pull, push, clone, do commits, those things only. But they are not very friendly at while releasing the code or while doing the something. They are not that much friendly with this process. So they come to us, hey, can you do for me this? Okay. So we need to set up most of the things at the GitHub or a GitLab. So we'll continue the same from tomorrow onwards with this Git workflow and some in-deep practicals with GitLab, GitHub, not only GitHub, GitLab, we're going to see GitLab as well, and the branching strategies, code flow, code rules, all these things we are going to learn as part of our syllabus in this section, what I have mentioned. Okay, so this is very, very essential, need to learn Git essentials. And then we'll move how can we apply these things into the ML operations where ML engineer or data science engineer are going to need support from us. Then we'll move to the CI/CD to understand how the code can be moved, and that can be CI/CD, and that can be run and do and pass the stages. First, we will learn about the application, and then we apply for the ML model code. The same thing. So in a step-by-step manner, we will be moving forward. So don't miss out the classes every day and get registered and get added into the classroom. And from Monday, I will be having a track on you guys who are joined. I will be having a track on you that what practice you are doing, at what things you have completed. Everything will be going to record it, guys. So please be active and coordinate with me. We'll meet tomorrow at the same time. If you don't have any questions, you can wrap up the today's session. Okay, cool then. So we'll meet tomorrow at the same time, guys. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And please join into the WhatsApp group. You may go to YouTube channel in the down. You can able to find the link and there join the WhatsApp group. Thank you all. The same link you can join on up to Monday, but please do complete your payment so that we will get all the material on time. Thank you.